Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this Tuesday, the 3rd of August, 2021. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here. Now, there's some sort of an incident occurring in the Gulf waters near the Gulf of Oman right now. Let's get in there and let's take a look. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look. Extreme caution urged in the Gulf of Oman after a non-piracy incident. Activity reported off the coast of the United Arab Emirates. There's something going on right now. And, this has been really hot over there right now between Iran and everything else. It says a non-piracy incident is underway off the coast of, I can't pronounce some of these, in the United Arab Emirates. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations reported on Tuesday. United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations warning notice based on third-party sources advised vessels to exercise extreme caution in the area about 61 nautical miles off east of I can't pronounce some of these words, but that's where it is. It's in the Gulf of Oman, and it's in that area where all the oil tankers are going through, over in the Middle East there. The area where there's all the tension right now. And this is a new incident of tension that's happening right now. We don't know exactly what it is, but they're listing it as a non-piracy incident. That means it's not piracy. It's something else. I guess we're going to find out later. Silver price today. Now, I'm going to tell you guys what. I was just listening to Alistair McLeod, and he was saying that ultimately all of these currencies are going to completely fail, and they're going to go to zero unless they back them with gold. That's the gist of what he was saying. Very intelligent man. He knows what's coming down the pike. Got big problems coming down the pike because there's only two things that really are of all this, what they call money, which is actually currency, which is actually just debt, which can evaporate like if there's a deflationary episode. It can evaporate like the mist in the morning when the sun comes up, gone, poof. There's no real substance behind it other than the governments say it has value. We say so. Well, if the governments mismanage it, then all of a sudden investors can say, "Hey, does this stuff really have value?" It's all a perception. It's all a mental mind game. The whole thing. This is what keeps the value behind these fiat currencies. Value is being eroded, and it can be a sudden thing, a sudden shift where everybody decides, "Hey, I'm going to get out of this stuff and get into something that really has value." Well, what is there out there? Well, for the longest time through world history, there was only two things that were gold and silver, period. Now there's cryptocurrencies too. But the thing is it's very limited. If you're not going to be invested in fiat currencies, it's very limited where you can go to get out. And it appears like there's going to be a certain point in the future, and it's not too far away, where everybody's going to want to get out at the same time. This is the problem is when this finally triggers and goes off, everybody's going to want to get out at the same time. Hasn't happened yet, but it's in our future. It's actually inevitable because they're destroying the value of these fiat currencies. Now the Fed's come along right now, and they're doing some sort of reverse repo operation to withdraw liquidity out of the system. All they're going to do is create a crash that they're going to have to fix. And I'm doubtful now. Well, not completely doubtful. I'm hoping we're going to make it till Christmas. I don't know for sure because of the way they're draining liquidity out with this new reverse repo operation that could go as high as $2.5 trillion between now and the end of this year. And they're at 1 trillion right now, and every day it's increasing, getting bigger. Basically what's happening is the banks are shifting their money or their cash over to the Fed. And they're not lending for, there's an enormous housing bubble out there, real estate bubble out there, right? You guys know that. Real estate's in a bubble. But, in order for that bubble to stay intact, people have to buy homes. I mean, doesn't that just make sense, guys? People have to buy homes. And right now we got this eviction crisis going on, which means the banks are going to be facing tremendous amounts of defaults and mortgages and everything else, right? And that means they're not going to get their money on a massive scale. Why on earth are they going to lend more money out in a situation like that unless they're very, very careful? It's made the banks extremely careful, extremely cautious, and so this is threatening to burst the housing bubble as well. People are going to run to what has real value, and that's gold and silver, ultimately. And they're going to run in mass all of a sudden, like. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen quick when it happens. The dollar's going to go down quick when it goes. It finally goes. And so are all the other fiat currencies with it. This is going to create a crisis of unparalleled proportions. And over in the East, China, Russia, they've been preparing for this, quietly packing away gold. Tremendous amounts of gold. The West over here, we've been giving them our gold through these leases and stuff. They lease the gold out. Well, basically how it works is you get a politician, and he says, okay, I'm in charge of this gold in this vault. We can save money. What we'll do is we'll write up a lease on this gold, and we'll sell it into the market for whatever the market price is. And that lowers the price of gold, by the way, when they do that. Basically dump it into the market for whatever we can get. And then at a specified time when the lease expires, we buy all that gold back from the open market. And this way we don't have to pay storage costs or anything like that. We buy it back cheaper. They always say, well, we buy it back cheaper. And so that's what they do. They lease the gold into the market, basically selling it. In other words, sell our gold, with the intent, when the lease expires, to buy it back cheaper. Well, that all looks great on paper. But who's there to buy that gold? Well, maybe Russia is. Russia buys the gold, and then Russia puts the gold in their vault over there. And then the thought is when the lease expires, they're going to buy it all back off the market cheaper. Everybody's going to be great and fine. Canada doesn't have any gold. Zero. That's the country where I live in. Doesn't have not even 1 ounce of gold. I don't know what the end result on all this is going to be, but it's just a total mess. Anyway, so silver today is at $25.50. It's up 10 cents. It's still not where it should be. We got a little deflation coming because of what the Fed's doing. But it ain't going to last. It's one of those things where if we do get it, and we get a crash, it's not going to last because the Fed, they don't plan on letting the markets drop more than 10 or 20% at most. And when everything starts to go haywire, they're going to be right in there, stepping in there to fix it. And they're going to say, well, it's another 2008 situation. And you know what they did in 2008? They had to try to fix it. Well, they'll try to fix it again. This is going to move us one step closer to people not trusting fiat currencies any longer. And one step closer to that day when all of a sudden everybody just wants to dump. It's coming. Guaranteed. Okay, so gold price is at $18.10. Let's take a look at cryptocurrency market capitalizations today. $1,547 billion. It was over $1,600 billion there yesterday. Bitcoin price is 38,000 right now, so the price has come down a little bit. It was over 40,000. In fact, I think it touched around 41 or 42,000 there yesterday. Now it's down to 38,000. I don't think it's going to stay down for long. It's just one of those quick movements down and up, and Bitcoin, you know, is having a little bit of volatility, and it's still actually, the truth is we're still in this bull market. We had a little bear within the greater bull. We had a little bear cycle, like a cycle, within a greater bull market. And if you don't believe that, just look at the Bitcoin price of $38,000. Well, there was a time just a couple years ago, 2017, when Bitcoin went up to 20,000. Everybody thought that was a super expensive Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin's twice that price. Now can you see the greater bull market? Yeah, I know it went up to 64,000, but that just shows you what it can do. Now it's come back down to 38,000, but we're still in the greater bull market, even though we'll have these little bear markets within the greater bull market, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now let's move on and let's talk about the Dow Jones today. It's up 105 points. It did start the day down, but things have reversed. It started the day down, they said, on COVID fears, you know, but things have reversed now at this point. Now let's take a look at the crude oil. 70.28. It's down 98 cents today, or 1.38%. This could skyrocket, this crude oil price, if that situation that I talked about at the start of the show turns out to be something big, or the beginning of something big. Crude oil price could skyrocket if something big happens that could affect the flow of crude oil from the Gulf, where a lot of crude oil flows through the Gulf, you know. Now let's take a look at the MOVE index today. 64.29 today on the MOVE index. It's up 7 points. Now let's well, the MOVE index going back up again. You know, even 64 is too high for my liking. It should be down around below 50. Should be below 50. Now let's take a look at bonds and rates today, and we're seeing a mixed bag today. We're seeing the yields are not moving much. They're moving insignificant little small amounts, but that's kind of mixed because we're looking at the middle of the yield curve going up, the long end going down, the lower end moving up and down. It's mixed. But it's not big. It's small movements. Now let's take a look at the U.S. dollar index to finish it off, and the dollar's started to climb, and it's climbing rather quickly right now. It's at 92.14 on the U.S. dollar index. I was doing something on my show. Now, you guys know I'm a pet lover, okay? Love dogs and cats. I just love dogs and cats. Both of them. I can't decide which one I like the most, whether I like cats the most or dogs the most. I like them both, right? And I was doing pictures of dogs and cats on my show toward the end. Every day I'd post a picture of a dog or cat, you know. Something I enjoyed to do, but there's not that many pictures on the internet, or good pictures on the internet, dogs and cats. You guys want to send me in your pictures of dogs and cats, you know, I'd be fine with that, to post them on the thing, you know. Of course, you'd have to send the picture, you know, and give approval for me to use it. Say, okay, use it, and it would be nice if you put in the name of the dog or cat. If you guys want to, you know, I'll post them toward the end of the show for a couple of seconds. If there's a lot of pictures coming in, well, that's great. And I'll tell you what, I'll put an email address to send them to at the end of this show, you know. I'll post it in the comments in the section there, not the comment section, but in the section there where I put an attachment, you know, to an email address to send any pictures you have of your dog and cat. Try to include the name of the dog and cat, maybe its age, you know, or whatever. And if you do have something in there that would give away your address or whatever, I'll cut that out, you know, or make it so that part I'll focus in on the pet, you know, and so they can't see where your address is or anything, you know. But try not to include that in your pictures, you know. try to, if you got 2 pictures and maybe one accidentally shows your mailbox or something like that, pick the picture that doesn't show anything, to send in. Anyway, listen, thank you guys for listening to the show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. Bye-bye.